Hello. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Eduardo.
Good evening, Rico. How are you?
I am doing well. It's good to see you, my friend. It's been a while since we've chatted
Oh,
or anything,
darn it,
so
darn it, darn it. Oh,
looking
there
forward to
you
that.
go.
Hey, real
Yep.
quick, everybody. Just want to remind you, I don't even have the chat open at all. Eduardo said he's going to close it, so the whole first half of the show is just going to be Eduardo and I having a conversation. We're just going to be having a chat, but then the second half we'll open it up to you guys to ask questions of Eduardo too. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. So let's jump in. Hi.
Hi, welcome, everyone. Thank you very much, Rico. It's been a year since we scheduled, and we had to reschedule, and then I had to reschedule, and then we just been on pause for a while. But I'm really
Yeah.
glad that you're back on and that Focus On is still on. I saw Dee Dee was on the other night, which was really, really fun. Her hair looked fabulous, so it was really good to see her. Not to mention, obviously, her cleavage.
obviously, obviously, and Dee was fun. Dee was just a hangout stream, but I am going to start
Gotcha.
doing more of the Focus on Saturday nights because I've been doing a Saturday night stream off and on since James and Ed quit
Yep.
doing theirs a year and a half ago now or so. So I've been doing a Saturday night stream at this time slot for about a year and a half, but not always Focus Ons. But I think we're going to try and jump those up. So, anyways, thanks so much for joining us. So, real quick, let me just run through some of the stuff that I know about you. Now, we were lucky. I was lucky enough to meet you face to face at the Keystone Clash. I was honored to meet you and your sister.
Yep, very much so.
We had a blast there. Looking forward to this time again. You both are coming again, right?
Yeah, we're both there. We're scheduled, all that stuff. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll be staying at the hotel this time. Yeah.
I know that you live in Florida, but you're from New Jersey. Were you born in New Jersey?
No. I
You
was
lived
born
your
in
first
Puerto
part of your
Rico.
life. Or you were born
Right.
in Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yep.
Moved to New Jersey when?
I was 6. I think it was 1970. I think it was 1969, 1970. We came to the States. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you were
Buddy's
in
mom
the
was here,
States.
and then my mom was here, and
Puerto
then
Rico.
she's right. We're U.S. citizens anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. And do you remember anything that was really weird coming from Puerto Rico to New Jersey right away, other than the weather?
Well, we arrived during the summer. I remember I was wearing a short little beige pair of shorts and a yellow tiny checkerboard shirt.
That's
And the
weird.
flight, yes, I remember exactly like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We flew on Eastern Airlines. I do remember. Remember they used to give us the little wings when we were
Yep.
kids. It was just my brother and I. So we were both. He was 7, I was 6, and so we went to the front, and the stewardesses or the flight attendants were very nice, and I remember looking out the window, and I said, oh, look at all the trees. There were clouds, but back then I thought there were trees. So you never know. And then we flew into JFK, where my uncle, may he rest in peace, and his wife picked us up that night. And then they took us the morning after that. We went to New York City, Chinatown, to go have pancakes. I don't know why, but we went to Chinatown and we had pancakes. And I remember having a big stack of pancakes that I never, ever in my
6 years
entire
old.
life was ever going to finish. Um, but that was my first day in the United States, in New York City.
Now, did you know much English at the time? And the reason I ask that is because one of my very best friends in this life is also from Puerto Rico. He left when he was 12, did not know a lick of English, went to a boarding school in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. So he went from an area of Puerto Rico, and I don't remember which area, but he was a little bit. They were poor. His family were very poor, and he went to a place where, well, his best friend is now the owner of the Chicago Blackhawks. So he,
Nice,
it was a drastic. His parents became mathematicians for an oil company in Saudi Arabia. So
Awesome.
they suddenly had a lot of money. So did you know English when you came over? Any English?
Yes, I knew one thing, jack shit. Not a
Hey,
word.
so not much
Nothing.
has
Not even
changed then.
hello, nothing. I was literally 6 years old, in the 1st grade. We did not have English during that time at school. We were dirt poor. Mom had just put my dad in prison and got out of Puerto Rico with her new boyfriend that she took out of prison, thus became her second husband. Uh, and my older brother and I got to the States and we moved to a very small little house. It had 4 walls, a basement in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. And the school was Burnett Street School, which is an elementary school. And my very first teacher was Mr. Paglia. Uh, and he was a Paglia, very Italian, older gentleman, heavy set. He looked like Santa Claus for real, without the beard and without the hair, but definitely without the attitude either. He was just this mean-looking teacher, but a nice teacher. It wasn't. He wasn't. I wasn't mean. He wasn't mean to me at all. But then I went to 3rd grade with Mrs. Katz, and she was a total bitch. Very bigoted and all that kind of stuff. And
How do
then I
you
had my
remember all
fourth
this?
I remember absolutely everything. I have no idea. My sister would be the first one to say, "I'm the memory," and she holds the photographs. Um, 4th grade is my very first time. Well, actually, my first time. I've always omitted this part, and it's because it's a memory glitch. But Mr. Paglia actually had an aquarium in the classroom, and he had swordtails and mollies who had babies. I remember that from just the clicking of his name. That was the first aquarium that I've ever actually saw. Then my grade teacher, who I do not remember her name, she was the sweetest woman in the world, and she was the first one that actually gave me black mollies as a gift for taking care of the turtle during the winter season. So that was the beginning of my aquarium hobby. But not that we're going there real quick, but yes, I remember reaching here. I had no idea. Funny how you started off with that, but I did not have a single word in English, except of course that the kids would start teaching you the bad words. You know,
Sure,
that's
sure.
the first thing they would learn. They learned the bad words from Spanish from me, and I learned the bad words from
Yeah, yeah,
English
yeah,
from them.
yeah.
Um,
Let me ask you this:
yeah,
when you were still in Puerto Rico, no, you said that was the 70s or 1970.
I got
Okay,
it. No, 1969. We came to the States, so I was born in '63.
okay,
Right. So I remember probably from about age 5 onward. I remember stuff like that.
okay. I because my friend was quite a bit younger. He used to tell me about the A team, how it was all in Spanish. You know, because you're in Puerto Rico, right? So it's all in Spanish.
Everything's in
But
Spanish. Was at
but
least.
you know, have you ever watched the A team here? You know who the guys are roughly, right?
Yes, of course I do. Yes,
Mr. T was
Mr. T and all those other
B.A.
guys. Yes.
Baracus, right?
Right.
B.A. Bad attitude, right? But
Yep.
they couldn't call him. It didn't really jive with, so they called him Pedro. And so when he came here and he watched, that was his biggest culture shock that he remembers is coming to the mainland, and instead of it being Pedro, it was B.A. You know, and he's like, "What?
Right.
No, no, that's Pedro." You know, so
Pedro.
I
Pedro.
just that
Right.
always stuck
Some
with
of
me.
the I don't remember having a television when we were in Puerto Rico at that age. Um, I don't remember watching television during that time because we had a lot of animals in the backyard when we lived in our grandparents' home. So we were more into the live action, real life stuff with ducks and pigeons and red eye or pink eyed white rabbits and all the swine and all the other animals that lots of different types of chickens and stuff like that. So I was a little country boy back in the day. So
Gotcha,
no,
gotcha.
not television then. Being in the States that young, I do remember we had to stay in school after school. They didn't have any English as a second language acquisition courses or anything like that, which is what I teach today. But I would stay in school for hours on end. I mean, I remember I think we used to go home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we would have dinner. And mom would always ask, "What did you learn today in Spanish?" And we would tell her what we learned, and that's really how it came. I don't know where the switch came, but it came gradually, but it was
Yeah.
quick. We
Yeah.
learned quickly. That the learning, the best age learning of a second language is between the ages of 5 and 12. So I believe I learned really quickly. I don't have a Spanish accent unless I pretend to have one. So in that sense, I don't recall ever having any prejudices or anything like that during my young age. Later
Gotcha.
in life, yes, but
Yeah.
while a child, no.
What was there a lot of other people from Puerto Rico where you live too? So
No.
did you feel out of sorts at all? Did people? You just said you didn't deal with a lot of prejudice and stuff. So did you? Was it? Did you stand out really? Did you feel like you stood out? Did you feel welcomed?
No,
How did that
the
go? I mean,
funny welcomed. Well, let me say that I've always been that child that was very social. So my very first friend was Kevin, which was a black young man with green eyes, and we were together in second, third, fourth, and fifth, until fifth grade. So we were always in the same. The group could just move completely. There wasn't no student transfer. It was just we were in second grade, then we went to third grade, then we went to fourth grade, then we went to fifth grade. And during my fourth grade teacher that I don't remember her name, she actually had us go to each other's home. I went to Kevin's house with his mom, and she made me. It was to have dinner. We were supposed to interchange cultures, and I went there, and he used to live down the street. All the way up on the top of the bottom floor was a florist, and they lived on the top floor, which was like three slides up. No elevator, it was all walking. And I remember she served me the biggest friggin' hamburger I had ever seen in my life. I was a huge, I mean, to me, it was huge, but I couldn't finish it. But it was really, really, really good. And French fries that I had never had before. I think it was the curly fries or whatever.
yeah.
And then it was his turn to come to my house. And mom had made rice, white rice, beans, and steak with onions. All right. Yeah, and he came over. He had seconds, and he enjoyed it and all that stuff. And I, took him over to the corner so he can cross the street and go home. So I would walk him all the way to the corner, and he went up that way, and then I went back home. And the first time I ever heard anything prejudice was that time when I walked into my house, and my mother said, "Don't you ever bring that black kid into my house again." That was the first
Wow.
experience of
Wow. From your
noticing
mom.
from my mom. That's correct. And of course, even then, I didn't realize what she was talking about because I didn't see Kevin as black. I just saw him as Kevin. So, but that was the very first time. Yeah. And, but that was also the first time that I realized as an adult where prejudice and racism came into the
Sure.
picture. Now, mom, she
And
may have had her reasons for
yeah.
being a racist, but throughout our lives, obviously, we figured out that she was just racist. Considering that her mother, was also a black Puerto Rican. You figure that one
I
out.
was going to say that is my best friend Angel is a black Puerto Rican as well. So I
Yep.
know yeah, that's, yeah.
Again, the irony of life. That's just the way it works.
And it's really good because, okay, here's a good example. My brother turned out to be almost identical to my dad in his belief system and everything, identical, whereas I'm almost opposite. So it's good that you did not fall into that same,
No, not at all. If anything, what she gave me was the power to not be like her, to be exactly the opposite of who she was in real life. I mean, she goes on to, in her life, in her future after that. I mean, she dated a black Puerto Rican. When I was 12, her dad, my grandfather, passed away, and I was in New Jersey. And his last wish was he was going to see me that summer. He died in May of 1976, if I'm not mistaken, May 13th. And so she sent me to Puerto Rico to be with my grandmother for that year, so she wouldn't be alone. Um, and I realized that that's what changed into my world. I went to Puerto Rico not understanding fully the Spanish language anymore. I was the gringo. I was that was the English kid. And there's another story being told there about the Cuban English teacher who had an issue with kids who knew more English than she did. But I'll tell you that a little bit later. But yeah, in Puerto Rico, in 13, I was there from 12 to 13, and then I came back to the States. When I came back to the States, mom already had left her second husband, the father of my two younger brothers, and she was dating this guy who was Puerto Rican but black. And so I found it like, oh, the irony of it all. Mhm.
Now, still in New Jersey though at this point. 16 years
All in New
old, you're still in
Jersey.
New Jersey. When did
I
you leave
was
New Jersey for Florida?
oh, funny you said that. Okay, so a couple of times. Um, I went to Puerto Rico. I came from Puerto Rico at age 6. I returned at age 12. I came back at age 13. Then at age 21, my grandmother got ill. She was living in New York City with my aunt. And then my aunt said, she's really, she's unhappy here and all that stuff. And I said, and she goes, I was going to send her back to PR. And I said, sure, I'll go with her. So I took a sabbatical from work, about 6 months, and I went back to Puerto Rico for 6 months, where I met my then wife, and we married about a month and a half later, and then we came back to the States. Now she lived across the street from us, so she knew me since I was born.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't recognize the jack shit, and she was a black Puerto Rican as well. Funny how black has come into the picture. I have no idea. But then I went back about a year and a half later, um, and I was there from 19. Let me see. That was 1985, by the way, when I got married, and then we went back in 1986, about a year later, and I was there until 1988. And then I came back to the States, and a year late, about a year or so, 6 months later, I started my college, and I've been here ever since. And then in 1997, um, I had just bought the house, and I lost my house in 1997, June 2nd, 1997, to a fire. I had just bought it 50 days. I bought it on April 15th.
Wow.
Yeah, and then 50 days later, I lost it all. And then I
Wow.
ended up going back to Puerto Rico. And then my ex-sister-in-law, which, well, she was still my sister-in-law, but we were no longer my wife and I weren't together. She said, oh, they're hiring for a drama teacher in Juana Diaz, which is the district that she worked for. I went to the interview and I was hired as a teacher, and then been teaching ever since, 26 years after.
So
And
did
then I
you?
came back, and then I came to Florida on January 16th, 2010, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. So did you already have an affinity for drama at that point? Were you into it, or was it just? I mean, how did you fall into that?
I
Just
went
somebody
to
just knew that. Okay.
Nope. I went to college, and I had already registered for all business classes because I've been a company manager for a bunch of years prior to that, about 10 years. Started with Kinney Shoes, and then went into private companies. And then I don't know, for some reason, before I started, I went to the counselor and I said I want to change everything to drama and circus. So I took all the business courses, sent them to hell, and I took circus and drama in English and
Circus?
math.
Circus?
Circus, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Circus. You got it. I was the master of ceremonies for 3 years. I was there. Yep.
Really?
Circus. Yep. And I was
Wearing the
280 pounds. So
wearing the red jacket and the black hat and
no, it
a
was
ringleader?
a different. It was more like Circus Soleil.
Okay.
It was more like Circus Soleil. Circus Soleil had just started, and we were part of that entire group.
Okay.
Um,
I'm thinking elephants and
no,
bears riding bicycles and things like
no,
that.
more of a uh, juggling, balancing, tightrope, ball
Okay.
walking, acrobatics, dance. You think of the Circus Soleil movement. That's what we did. And I was
Okay.
also the creator or co-creator of Controversy, which was the our school um, improvisational ensemble with Remy Basso, Olympia Dukakis, and Sally Field.
With them.
Yeah. They had the Montclair Hall Theater Company. They were the parents, and we were a child from them. So
Oh,
yeah, and it was
wow.
the best time of my life. Oh yeah, of course. It was also pretty awesome.
You mentioned a phrase that guys of our age are very familiar with, and that is ball walking. Because as
Yes.
you age, and you got to be careful. You're just saying.
Right, but it was walking on a globe, ladies and gentlemen. It's walking on top of a globe. All right. But yeah, and
Yeah.
no, I was never really into drama or education for that matter. It just happened to be the way it worked.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You
So
fell into it, and it obviously was a great fit.
Yep, it
Maritza
was.
Maritza became a member just now. I see the pop up just happened there. So thank you, Maritza. Mountain Green. Oh, somebody must have dropped a membership thing because there's a couple. We'll probably get
20 of them. 20 or
Who did?
200, I forgot.
Who
Gifted
did?
20. Alexander Engelhardt.
Oh,
Yep,
Alexander, it's been forever. I was just thinking about you too. Aladdin Sane. I don't even know that name.
Yep.
But real quick, I don't want to interrupt the story too much, but thanks, Alexander. And I was thinking about you, and I said this before, and I hesitated to reach out to you and see how you were doing because I didn't want you to think that the only reason I was doing it was because I hadn't seen you in the chat doing what you do. I feel guilty. So it's very cool to see you, and thank you again, as always, for that amazing. So this is going to go off for a while, and you don't hear the sounds though, right, Eduardo?
No, I hear nothing.
Okay, good, because I'm using OBS with a virtual camera, so you shouldn't, but I just wanted to verify. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Sorry. That's going to pop up for a while then as people become members. But again, thank you so much, Alexander. So you fell into it, and obviously, though, education and drama specifically seem to be your forte because I know now that you absolutely love it.
Yeah. Well, the drama part while I was in college, because Jim Cadron and I wanted to have a theater company, and he was he actually taught at the college afterwards, drama. We just came together and we created our own theater company called Controversy within the school, and we got paid $75 every time we performed. So as college students, we made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then of course I was also the art gallery exhibitor. So I would be in the art. I was all 24/7 in school. I mean, I was the sophomore class president, junior class president, senior class president, you name it. I was everywhere. I think I had like 30 or something things on the who's who on the book of that big book what kind of stuff like that. College to me was one hell of a fucking awesome experience. It was not I mean, magna cum laude, you name it, I enjoyed it. I remember Dr. Casey, when I woke up and he calls my name Eduardo Antonio Orengo Costa, magna cum laude, and he goes, who did you sleep with? I said, everyone except you. So and he was my Shakespearean teacher. So it was all really just a wonderful experience. Bloomfield College, by the way, I shout them out all the time in my life. It is.
And where's that located?
In Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Okay.
Bloomfield, New Jersey. Yeah. And it's called Bloomfield College. It's a private college. And it was the best. I mean, I had the best time of my life there. And then from there, I did my off-Broadway shows, which I made several $100,000, and bought my house and everything else that went along. Lost it, went to Puerto Rico to try to vegetate, was staying at my mom's house for about a month, and I got hired on July 16th of 1997 as a drama teacher, and I started working in schools, and I haven't stopped since. So it's been 26 years since then. And so I do drama and, of course, English as a second language, which is my degree is I have what they call a 2.5 major. It's theater, English communications, and a minor in theology.
Got you. And have you ever used that?
I use that every single day. And then my master's is actually in Puerto Rico, that I got my master's at ESL, English as a second language. And of course, now in a few months, I'll be getting my doctorate. Shut up. Go ahead.
I didn't know that. Congratulations. Yes. That's huge news. That is huge news. Dude, now, are we going to have to call you Dr. Eduardo?
No.
At first, we should. We should at first.
No. Yeah, not yet. I
You know,
feel that once I have the degree in my hands, maybe
yeah.
my ego will burst, and then my kids will have to call me doctor. That's a definite. But not my friends. That's just
Well,
not how it's going to happen.
you know, throughout my life, I've met a few doctors. I mean, obviously medical doctors, yes, but I mean doctors like yourself, Doctor Awesome, Doctor Kelly. I mean, but I've met a lot throughout my life, and some of them were, please call me this. Other ones, if you want to. Other ones didn't want to be called it, and I, unless they specifically say, please don't call me that. I think I've just recently and come to this realization too. I think that I'm going to start calling the people like yourself, Dr. Eduardo, Dr. Kelly, Dr. Anthony. I'm going to use the honorific all the time, unless people specifically tell me not to.
Well, to
Um,
me, it's more
it's a
it's
sign
an
of respect for
education
me.
thing.
It's
Right.
a sign of
Well,
respect. So
to
I,
me, it's like I don't. The first thing is I keep it to myself because I don't want the title. I just want the pay. I
okay,
just want the $10,000 up on my pay, and of course, it just gives me better opportunities for where I want to do. I mean, I'm going to
sure,
retire in a few years, and you want to make the max amount of money. So that's basically where it actually goes down to. It isn't something that I was like, oh, I want to do this because I want to be. No, I could care less about the
sure,
title. It's
sure.
more about if I'm going to have to re-educate myself every year on new programs and how you do it, and they're paying for the courses, just do it. To
Yeah,
me, it was an opportunity. Dr. Montesino, who received her doctorate a couple of months ago, who was actually my middle school principal. She just got it, and she went to Mississippi and got it this December, and we celebrated her graduation and all that stuff at a party. um, and we call her Dr. Montes, literally out of respect for the fact that she got it. Being our age, in our, early 20s, we have to understand that when we get something like that, it means a lot, but it means more to us that by the time we retire, we have earned the right to get the pay that we've earned because we have 26 years of education. Come on, give me a break. In
yeah.
today's volatile world of how many teachers left the mastery only because of political gain or political ambivalence and the political aggravants that we've had, which we'll discuss shortly too. But outside of that,
We won't get
to
too
me,
deep into it because I
not
try not to do too much
no,
politics.
not
So
political.
we're
But
gonna skim
remember,
the top of it. Skim the
right.
top.
But again, you're talking to a teacher who's in Florida, and we're seeing what the politic is happening to us down here with the banning of 1,600 books and stuff like that. And again, it's what's I'm living every single day. It isn't something that I can't, oh, let me put it aside. I drive an hour and a half to get to work. When it used to be 20 minutes, now it's an hour and a half because I love the school so much. And an hour and a half back. So that's 3 hours out of my whole entire day that I'm on the road. And
Yeah.
again, this is Florida. So, it's quite the horrific atmosphere on the roads. But outside of that,
What do you do when you're on that commute? Do you listen to audiobooks? Do you listen to what are you doing?
all right, on my
Music?
way to work, here's my routine. On my way to work, I have whatever it is I have to do with my particular students. If I have 4 classes of ESOL, which is English as a second language, level 1. Let me explain what that is. These are students that had just arrived in the United States. They no English at all, just like I did when I arrived. So,
Is it all Spanish or is there kids that know whatever language?
right, I have Creole speaking kids or Haitian kids. I have French kids. I have Brazilian students. I have Cubans. I have Puerto Ricans. I have Dominicans. I have one kid from Moldavia who speaks Russian. So they're all level 1, meaning level 1 is they know absolutely jack of English. So my job is to get them to learn to read, learn to write, learn to understand, learn to speak English. And the program is called the sheltered program because they need all that intensity as quickly as possible. And my job is to literally get them out of that program as quickly as possible. So I've been very fortunate because I was that child, I was that student, and I use that to my benefit to grasp the attitude of my students and say, if I could do it, I know you could do it. And so far I've got about 96 students this year, and about 42 I've already taken out of the program, and they've moved on to a regular English language learning course, or ELA, which is amazing. And of course, they love me for that. And of course, the kids hate me because I kick them out and they want to stay in my class. And so you can always take drama. And then I have sixth and seventh period. I have my my theater one class. So I teach English and theater, and after school I do yearbook. So you
know
can figure
what?
that one out.
Let's get away from the teaching for a little bit.
Okay.
Let's move away from that for a little bit. Let's go back a little bit and talk about any other types of jobs that you've worked in over your lifetime, because I know you had some other jobs that we've talked about before you've mentioned. So I'm interested. So walk me back through that. So when did you get your very first paying job? If it was under the table, you know, as a paper route, whatever it was, what's your first, and walk us through some of those. I know you have some interesting ones.
Yes. All right. 9 years old. There was a Seatown. I don't know if you have them up in upstate New York, but Seatown was or Pathmark was the biggest chain up in Jersey. Well, it used to be one up the street, and across the street from the Pathmark was an elderly society buildings where only the elderly lived there. Okay. So my older brother and I and my younger brother would go to the Pathmark, bag the groceries for the elderly, and then take them to their home for a quarter, 10 cents, 20 cents, whatever. And so we made at 9 years old. I was 9 years old. That was my very first unofficial job. And, you know, we did that for a while. Then we moved. I didn't work for a while. Then at the age of 14, I was 14 in ninth grade. I went to Walmart. No, what is it? What's it? Oh my God. Started with a W.
Walgreens? What kind of store?
No, way before Walgreens. Walsworth?
Woolworths?
Yes, Woolworths. There you go. I went to Woolworths and I got hired as a little bus boy. You know, they used to have chicken and all that food into the department store, and they put me in there. Now, mind you, this is in downtown Newark, New Jersey, which is predominantly black. Okay. A lot of the employees were black. And here I am at 14 years old. I go in there, and my boss is a 7,000-foot white man. And he puts me into the areas. And then he goes, you know, whatever they tell you to do, you know, you get to do. And I'm like, okay. So my first day there, the staff decided that they're going to abuse this little white boy because they didn't know I was Puerto Rican because I didn't speak Spanish. And they decided to make me take out all the gum and gook underneath all the seats where they sat. So I'm like, hey, I don't care. It's a job, right? I'm making $3 an hour. So I went, I was scrubbing up, and the boss comes down and sees me underneath the whole thing. He goes, what the hell are you doing? He goes, they told me to take out, get the hell out of there. He went to the back, ran, you know, I was supposed to be hauling food. Here I am working with shit. So literally he ate them out over there, and then they were all iffy. And so then my job was really just to haul food from the up down elevator from there into the bins. So where the food, like fried chicken and all that other stuff. So I washed my hands out. Remember, this is my first day. I washed my hands out, did all that stuff, and I was doing it just fine. I was there for about a week. Then this beautiful person decided to trip me, and I fell. I'm talking about a tray that's literally about 3 feet wide, full of chicken, fried chicken, and she tripped me, and I fell. But I was able to save the tray, but I hurt myself. So I put the tray into the place. And so then I decided, she was like, oh, you need to do this. And so I decided at age 14 that that lady was not going to be so nice. And so I wasn't going to be nice. And I put her inside with the chicken. I shoved her inside with the chicken. I went upstairs and I said, you know, I quit. I walked out. I walked over to McCrory's, which was another retail store, big, and I walked over there. I used to buy all my fish from that store, and I went over to Renee Steinig, who was the manager there, a German woman, really tall, beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes, and she was like really butch. She was like a mean woman. I thought she was a wrestler at one time. Anyway, and I said, "Are you hiring?" And she goes, "Yeah, I just fired the other kid. I caught him stealing, and I know you love animals, so yeah, you want to work here? I'll work out. You can work." And I said, "I'm only 14," and she goes, "Oh, that's all right. We'll just mark you at 15 because you got to be 15 to work there." So I was a couple of months away, so I started working at a pet shop, and I worked there throughout my high school
Now,
until
is
I was
that the
18 years
place
old.
that Paul Sotera knew about too?
No, that was in
Okay.
Verona. That was further down. That was a few years
Okay.
later. But that
Okay.
was up. Yeah, that was up on Bloomfield Avenue towards Verona and Montclair, up in Montclair, that area. Yeah,
Okay.
that was a major store. But I worked at the McCrory Pet Shop. It was at what do you call it? It wasn't owned by McCrory's. It was like another company that rented the spot. It was that pet company rented the spot, like a Petco inside of McCrory's, that kind of thing.
Oh,
And we had
gotcha.
all types
Okay.
of pet. Yeah. And we had plants, fish, kittens, dogs, birds, you name it, tarantulas. I had them all. I had a rosy boa. I mean, it was
Yeah, and you
amazing. I
kept
loved it.
fish, you said at that time. You said you'd
Yes.
already, yeah,
Oh, yes. I
yeah,
already
yeah,
had
yeah.
kept fish many times. Yeah. For many
Yeah.
years for that. And
Gotcha.
that was my first job. Then after that, 18 years old, I went into Mm, Avon.
Really? Yeah.
Avon. Yes. They had a program. Yep. You're
Yeah.
going to love this. It was a Avon program, and it was a group sales leader. So I had a district manager, and she gave me a group of about 15 ladies. It was the district, but they divided into 6 or 7 other people so they can micromanage other people, help them and stuff like that. I was a very top salesperson already in the district, and she gave me 19 students, and then I recruited about 80 something students to my team, thus becoming the #1 group sales leader in America. Yes,
I'm
sir.
laughing because I just never knew that you were an Avon lady.
I
I
was
just
an
never
Avon
knew that.
lady. Yes,
And
I
you weren't
was. And
just
I
an
was in
Avon
the
lady.
top three.
You were
I
a
was the
kick
top three in the
ass
district. Yes,
Avon
sir.
lady. Yeah, that's
I
amazing.
was
My
it.
mom was an Avon lady, and I still have some of the
Yep,
cologne bottles. There's a Volkswagen one because I was into
correct.
Volkswagen. So, and a few
Yep,
of the other ones too that my mom had left me when she passed. So that's funny. That is funny.
yep. And the funny thing is that for 4 years, from 1982 to 1986, I was #1 in the nation. They called me, and when I say that, I'm talking about I got 10%. I got 1% of the base and 10% of the increase. So my checks were literally $4,000 and $5,000 a quarter. And then one check for Christmas of 1983 was $15,000. Now, mind you, this is before I was even 21 years old.
And
Okay.
it's 1983. So that's,
And you're talking about a lot of money. And
yeah.
I was literally #1 in the nation. And like you said, you name it, Avon back in the day it made money. We made money. And our district became the #1 district also in New Jersey and in the nation. And it was a whole bunch of Puerto Rican and black people and Portuguese, because I can't forget Isadora, and she was the #1 sales lady in our district. She had what they called the down neck. Not a curse word, but the down neck was the Portuguese factory workers, and she used to sell Avon. Wow. Then she retired, and her daughter continued the business. So again, everything that she came in, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're not talking about dollars. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that she sold a year in that area. So yes, it was an amazing time. Then after that, I went back to the business world because I love the business world. I used to drive down to Newark, Delaware, to take the orders from the, Newark, Delaware. I mean, from Newark, New Jersey
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Newark, Delaware. Remember, you have to
Yeah.
say them different, even though they're spelled exactly the same way. To the Avon distributors down there to deliver the orders. And then I went and I became a shoe salesman at Kinney Shoes in Totowa, New Jersey. So I went from being number one in the nation to
Yeah.
selling stupid shoes, but
Why? Why?
I I had to work. Oh well, the program ended, and I didn't want to be just
You
an
just didn't
Avon
want to do that
salesperson.
anymore. Yeah.
No, no, I didn't want to just go back to just selling Avon. I stopped selling my own Avon. I had literally 5 or 6 women who were once at a time an Avon representative, but they didn't succeed. And so they would just sell for me and they would still make all the profit. They just made all the money on themselves. And all I did was get the orders and get the prizes for the orders. I won a trip to Hawaii, you name it, I won it.
You were a pimp. You were an
I
you
was
were an Avon
literally
pimp.
a Avon pimp. Yes, I was. But from that, the time changed, and now we're talking about 1984, 19 end of 84, yeah, in 1984. Then I still kept the Avon work, but not the group sales leader. So then I went to work for Kinney Shoes. I walked in as a salesman. Between 3 months later, I was an assistant manager. They moved me to Wayne, New Jersey, to Willowbrook Mall, to Short Hills Mall. I was switched around like a whore, from one manager to the other, and then I finally got my own store. I ended up going to Puerto Rico. I told you I took about a 6 month leave, went to Puerto Rico, came back. They gave me my own store in Short Hills, New Jersey, and I was doing that for a few more years until I decided to go back to Puerto Rico with my wife. And then I worked with the government in Puerto Rico for a couple of years, and then I came to the States and went to college. So, and then I was working, doing all that kind of stuff, um, until I started working full time at the college with all the businesses, with the circus, with the
Gotcha.
controversy, and then, but I had like 5 or 6 jobs. Oh, I was a telephone salesperson. Hi, uh, I'm with
I
so and
hated that.
so company.
Yeah.
You need new windows, that kind of guy. So,
Yeah. I did that too for
uh,
a week. A week. I
woo,
couldn't do
no,
it. I could not do it. Hated it.
I hated it, but I was good at it for some ass
Yeah.
reason. People believed me, and
I
they
wasn't.
bought all that shit and siding, well, house siding, because back in the day, what was a major moneymaker.
I don't remember what ours was. I think it was insurance. Because I remember having to say that there was a free rate quote, and I also often messed it up and said a qui quo.
A quick web quote, a
It's
quick
a
web quote.
qui quo instead of a free rate quote. I'd always say
Yeah.
qui quo.
And
But
then
that was a
in
week though.
Puerto Rico, um, with my bachelor's degree, in English and in theater, I walked into a superintendent's office. They were having what they call uh, convocatoria. It was literally an open session where if you were going to teach, you would compete with the other people. So I walked in. There was about 36 ladies and gentlemen in that room. It was a huge room with the superintendent, Dr. Algarin, at the time. She was 107, I believe. And she asked the question, is anyone here certified in drama or theater? Nobody raised their hand. Then about 2 seconds later, she goes, who has a degree in theater or drama? It was for theater position, so you had to have specialization. And nobody raised their hand. And I'm all the way in the back. There's a big fat guy, right? Again, I was 280 pounds. So I'm all the way in the back. I raised my hand as I'm walking forward. She says, come forward, in English for some reason. She must have saw the whiteness about me. So I'm walking up to the front and I'm listening to the teachers that are there saying, who the fuck is this guy, in Spanish? So I woke up and I hand her my transcripts and my degree. And she opens it up and she goes, oh, you have 2 degrees. You're English and theater. Hmm. And she goes, okay, sit right here. So I sat down next to her. Jean's telling me what anything. She said, sit down. She goes, does anyone have more than 129 credits in drama? About half of them stood up, said, fuck this shit, and walked out. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is about. So then she goes, does anybody have 100, 50, 30? She went down to 20, 15. Oh, two ladies raised their hand. They came up, and she looks down at their credits, and she goes, no, that's not drama, that's art. No, that's not drama, that's music. All right, so you have 13 credits in drama. And she grabbed the other lady, and she had 16 credits in drama. So she got the second job. So she had one with a degree and one that had 16 credits in drama. She gave her the high school. She gave me the middle school. Fuck you. Anyway, but that was my first job as a teacher.
Did she
And
know you spoke Spanish at the time? Was that
she was an English teacher when she was a teacher. She was an English teacher back when she was a teacher. So she only spoke to me in English.
Oh,
So
okay. I wondered
when
if
she
that was
spoke,
why if you
no,
were
no,
so
no.
much
Then
more
she spoke.
qualified, you know.
No, no. I spoke Spanish already, but I wasn't that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, why would she pick you for the lesser job, even though you're
Oh no,
so
no,
much
there
more
wasn't.
qualified?
It wasn't the lesser job. The other
Oh,
teacher had worked for the district before, but not as a drama teacher. So she wanted. I found out later she wanted me to be in the middle school because she lived around the corner from the middle school.
so she wanted to have the better plays to go watch.
So, well, I'm going to tell you what happened. So, what she did was she put me there, and all eighth graders from age 11 to 19. It was a very tough school, but I had students from 11-year-old to 19 years old, pregnant, you name it, everything. It was a pretty chaotic middle school, but she knew for some my the amount of students I had per class. I had five courses. First period had 52 students, 63 students, 68 students, 72 students, 49 students. 5 periods.
Wow.
I had literally two classrooms to cover all of them. One had a partial
Yeah.
stage, and then the other chairs. I had a lot of students. I walked in with a white shirt and a tie and slacks for the months of September. When September ended, I walked in with t-shirts and jeans and sneakers because I was tired. Okay, remember Ring Around the Collar?
Yeah.
Remember that, the Ring Around the Collar? I used to go home every afternoon, and all my white shirts were black. Right back here. I was like, where the hell is, because I was, again, very heavy, and I would sweat up a storm doing everything that I did. Anyway, but that
Did
was
you
a
have
fantastic.
any helpers? Did you have any assistants for that many kids?
No, it was just
Wow. See, we left
Yes.
Arizona partially because of that. My son had 72 kids in his second grade class with just a teacher. And then we moved to upstate New York, and there was like 23 kids with 2 student aides that helped in
No,
his
there
second
was
grade,
no.
third grade at that time.
The student cap came later. The
Wow.
student cap came later. So anyway, in December, she said she comes into the school and she saw the kids performing their things in my class, and they were all very, very I don't know, for some reason I always had really great class control, management control. So the kids were very respectful to each other, and she loved it. And she goes, now everybody leaves, and then she comes over and she goes, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to contact the other drama teachers in the district. Call Maria. Maria is her secretary. Call Maria, get their numbers, and I want you to create a performance for the district for the day of against violence. And I looked at her and I said, "You got to be shitting me." She goes, "Nope, you're it. You're the it guy." So I'm like, okay. So I contacted my sister-in-law, who was an art teacher. She contacted the art teachers. I contacted the drama teachers, and then we all got together. And so all the drama teachers, who was about 4 males and 3 females. The high school was a female. She was literally around the corner from me. Not the one that went to the interview. That was a different teacher, a different school. Anyway, we all got together. Pinocchio guy was the director of the actual performance. So we had to audition elementary kids, middle school kids, and high school kids for the major parts. And the high school teacher and myself wrote the play. We wrote the play, her and I,
Just from
and
scratch.
from scratch.
You knew the theme, but that was it.
Yeah, from the theme we created Camilo and Amparo. Those were the two main leads. Camilo is about path, another word for path, and Amparo is or where you go for shelter. The two names of the characters. So we started them off at elementary level, actors on there, middle school kids, and high school kids. So we went through the three stages and we created the play. It was about an hour long. Rave reviews. We were fantasmical. Everybody and their mother saw it, and I got a lot of praise and all that kind of shit. And the only reason she hired me was to tell everybody else it doesn't matter where you come from, you could do it and succeed. Stop being lazy ass motherfuckers. So unfortunately, Hurricane Georges hit, so I couldn't get into this school again. So I got hired in another district about across the state, or actually, we were down here in the south part of Puerto Rico, and I had to go all the way up here to Caguas. So I had to move. So I moved there, and I was hired as a Title I English teacher, kindergarten through third grade, and that was my first English teacher's job.
And did
So
you
I
like that with the little kids?
Oh, I walked in. I said to the kindergarten kids, "Good afternoon. How are you?" They started screaming, crying, and one took a piss on himself. Oh yeah, it was fantastical.
It was just
But
like a flash.
it was just like, it was all great. But again, it's about here's a male coming in to teach. They're used to being just in females, you know.
Gotcha.
So here's a male, not even the physical ed teacher was a male, it was a female. So here's a male, and they all got, the poor kid that peed himself. I felt so bad because,
Yeah.
I felt so bad, but
You
I
can
there's
live
nothing
that
I could do
down.
about it.
Yeah.
But that I was there with Miss Calderon there. Then I went and I took a job. I went to an interview in San Lorenzo, which was not far from where I lived, from where in Caguas, and went and interviewed for the drama position. It was a kindergarten through ninth grade, kind of elementary to middle school, actually high school kind of thing. So I taught kinder through ninth grade, and that principal didn't want to hire me. He hired someone who wasn't certified. I was already certified in drama. He didn't want to certify. He didn't want to hire me, so he hired someone who didn't have a certificate in drama, but I had a certification in health. So then Amparo Rodriguez, which is the superintendent for that district, called the principal up and said, "What the fuck are you doing? He's the one that has the certification, and you hire someone. You want him to sue us? You're hiring him." Boop. So she
And
called me. Goes,
why didn't it? Did you ever find out why he didn't want to hire you?
because he was a dick.
Oh.
I walked
Okay.
in. I walked in with my cowboy boots. I had literally. It was a little bit chilly because it was in the mountains. So I had slacks, my cowboy boots. I had a black suede jacket and a hat. I was not his type, I guess. And so he didn't want to hire me. And I'm a certified teacher by this time, and he
Yeah.
hired someone who was not certified. So anyway,
Yeah.
the superintendent called him, and he got reamed for that. And so I was there for about 7 years until I came to Florida. Actually, yeah, 7 years. 7 years. No bullshit.
We
Sorry. I went from that school, then I moved to the elementary school, which was across the street from where I lived, and I was there for 3 years. And then after that, then I came to the States.
Gotcha. I want to jump to just a couple more things because we're almost
Sure.
at an hour mark. So I want to open it up to
Oh,
the
yes, yes.
chat.
Oh, okay.
One thing though, you talk a lot about you were very heavy back then. What was that? How did that change? What made you change? What happened? That did you just decide one day, or what health issues, or what? Talk to us.
No,
How you
actually,
lost all the weight?
while I was at the elementary to ninth grade school in San Lorenzo, where the principal didn't want me, the uh, history teacher, social studies teacher, she was also very obese. And the doctors told her if she doesn't, she's going to die. And so as she's going home, this person stops her, a stranger, in the town where we work at, and said, "This is what you're going to do, spiritual, whatever." She goes, "You're going to stop cooking late at night. You're going to stop eating after 5 o'clock. You're going to cut down on how your food's going to do. And what you're going to do is you're going to lose the weight and your health's going to be fine. But if you don't do that, you'll be dead before September starts. So for some reason, she took the ladies, screwed what the doctor gave her, and took the lady's advice, and she stopped eating after 5 o'clock. And September came, and she went from a size 40 women's sizes to a size 12. She brought a skirt, and the English teacher, Mrs. Vicente, the science teacher, Mrs. Cintrón, and herself put themselves in the skirt. Mind you,
Yeah.
they took a picture of the skirt she used to wear. And I saw that picture, and they were in school, and I went and I said, how the hell did she do it? She goes, I stopped eating after, all I did was I stopped eating after 5 o'clock. That's all she did. So I was like, shit, all right, damn it, I'm going to do it. I used to get home by 3, cook. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was already home. So I would go home, cook, prepare everything, eat, have second helpings if I wanted to. And then I still had ice cream. I still had cookies. I still had whatever at nighttime. But by already 8 o'clock, I was done eating. I would have my juice or whatever. I stopped eating. And I went, there was a little park across the street from me. And I used to go just walk around, at dusk, just walk around in circles, listening to music, just walking around, not running, not doing anything. And that was in 2008. By the beginning of 2009, I had already lost 80 pounds. And I've just been losing it ever since. By the time I got here, I went from a size 52 to a size 36. And then here in Florida, I went from a 36 to a 29-30. So that's where I've been at. And I haven't gained it at all. And now it's sort of like, I mean, sure, my teeth sag. I got, and not everything is in perfect condition. At least
Sure.
my balls don't hang down to my knees. That's the only thing I can be thankful about.
Well, you did say you were a ball walker, though. I mean, so must have at least at one point.
But that's how I lost it. And nothing special. No, I am a type 2 diabetic, but nothing outside of that was because of health issues or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just followed the guidance of stop eating after a certain time, and the weight fell off. Literally fell off.
Let me tell you, since I retired, I've gained a lot of weight. I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I just went and saw the doctor on Thursday, and we've got a path, and we're going to do stuff. So it's inspiring and motivational for me to hear those types of stories, because I need to get back to where I was.
And I'll tell you, Rico, when I said I used to walk around, you do a lot of walking up where you're at. You do a lot of walking. That should be your walk. But literally, it's the eat. And I did not stop eating any of the good shit that I like. Okay, that bullshit. But what happened was, it sort of like after a while, I just didn't eat as much. I used to sit down, Rico.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat. All right, we're at a Chinese restaurant. I want the house special fried rice. Let me have the house special egg foo young. Make sure you bring me some the roller thingies. What are they called? Oh my God, they're deep fried.
The egg rolls.
I want my egg rolls. I want my wonton soup and my Coke or whatever I was drinking. I would sit down and eat all that shit in one sitting. I used to go to White Castles and order 20 cheeseburgers and sit down and eat them all. Right now, I'll go to White Castle. I might eat 3. And they're the small bites. That's it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
The sliders. Yep.
Yeah, sliders.
I don't eat that bad. But I have a sweet tooth. But I don't do a lot. I do the walks with Wally, but it's difficult. My hip has to be replaced. Well, let's not get into that. Let's real quick. We only got a couple minutes left, and before we open it up to the chat. So one thing I want to talk about really quick: hobbies. Do you have any other hobbies other than fish keeping that's something really big that you love doing? Plants. I know you have a lot of plants.
A lot of plants. A lot of orchids. I have a lot of orchids. Actually, today I spent about $300 in supplies for my orchids because I have to change all of their pots due to the hurricane. I have to change them all and all that stuff. what bark and all that, and for the plants themselves, and plants for the fish. A lot of the aquariums I have are now just stacked with different types of plants.
Yeah, I like that too.
But one of the hobbies that I've always loved was Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh,
and I have not played it in about a decade.
you know what? That sucks because we are just going to be starting up a game soon, and we only wanted 4 people. The dungeon master wanted to have a small group, but there's a bunch of people that want to play. So what I'm thinking is maybe we do like seasons of this and move people in and out. So one
Yep.
season of this group, and then the next season, a different group gets to do it or something.
But
Or
that was
maybe there's
something
other people out there that are interested in being a dungeon master and want to do this. Because
I
we're
don't
just
know.
going to start it
The
relatively
thing is,
soon.
while I was in college, do you know who Christina Ricci is, the actress?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Her brother went to college with me, and we were in the aesthetics course together. And he had this thing with Dungeons and Dragons. He hooked me up into it, and I fell in love with it. So it was
Yeah.
really, really good. But outside of that, it's been a while. I love fantasy. Love the creation and the
Me
little
too.
tiny creatures. And I had a whole bunch. I mean, I had a character who was an elven witch, magical being with all these powers, and she could never die. So I was really happy with her. I think I still have the miniature somewhere in my storage. But yeah, that was the one thing I really loved.
Well,
And
we
I
need
love
to
the fact.
go ahead.
No, I said I love the fact that you can spend literally 7 to 8 hours playing one game.
Yeah.
That was with your friends, you were your drinking buddies or whatever, and it was also so much fun. So, yeah, that was before the internet. But go ahead.
Well, I know that we have a lot of people in our community who enjoy the game. So I really think we need to try and come up with a way to get more people involved. Again, it's hard to have too many people in one campaign, right? You want to have just and our dungeon master this time around said, 4 people max in the party. So I think
Right.
4 or 5. But I know there's a lot of people like you that want to play. So we need to get together, get people together, and there's plenty of tools to be able to play online. Okay. Lefty just sent everybody over. I appreciate that, Lefty. It says Lefty and their viewers just joined. So I'm going to go back into the chat a little bit. And now's the time, too. If you guys got questions, let's open it up. Hello, everybody. There's 52 people currently in. And I'm right at where Alexander.
Wow. Okay.
Alexander dropped that 20 memberships. And again, it's good to see you. I was a little worried about you because I wasn't seeing you in any streams anywhere. And again, I felt weird reaching out. We've had this discussion before, but thank you so much for those. You know how much it means to me, and thank you very much, Alexander. Okay, Silver Creek has been a member for 8 months. Says much love, Rico and Eduardo. Larry D just came in there. This is way back too, so I'm going to miss a lot of stuff, I'm sure. Okay, it jumped on me, so I'm going to start right at 9:03 p.m. Well, I forget. You guys can't often see the timestamp.
That's funny.
Very first one.
Alex just said something. Wait. He goes, Rico Stan, who do I have to bribe to play? Who do I have to bribe and pay to play D&D with?
He's already bribed plenty of people.
I know,
but there's a lot of people that do. So we need to do that. Oink Master, or sorry, and hi Oinky, hi Genu. Genu says, "What makes you laugh the most? What's the thing that really gets you? Is it physical comedy? Is it what is it? What makes you laugh the most?"
I would have to say when someone is posturing themselves as the right person for a job or for a position, and then a comedian imitates them and puts out their real person out there in a sarcastic and emotional way, but in the truthful way. and I see the truth, I think that's what makes me laugh most.
So
Because
Daily Show type stuff.
Saturday Night Live, when they're
Yeah.
doing when they're playing on someone's vulnerability or strength and making them look weak or strong, but just laughing at the parody of the person. I love that the most. I love that the most.
Gotcha. Mine would be when people scare other people. I love to
Yeah,
scare
that's it.
people. I know
Oh
it's
God, no,
lowbrow. I know it's
no.
lowbrow, but I absolutely love to scare people. And I will watch TikTok all day and just watch people getting scared. That is my thing. Oinky just said hello. She's saying hi to both of us. And hi, Oinky. It's good to see you. So that's the first one. Lefty, I see Lefty said Scuba Steve ended the first one by mistake. So this is the real send over. Well, I appreciate you guys sending people over. And I hope that your first live stream with Scuba Steve went well, Lefty. And there's where Alexander says that. Who do I have to bribe to play D&D with you?
Yeah.
You know what? We got to talk. We got to talk because there's so many people that want to get involved with Dungeons and Dragons. And it's, again, we can only have 4 or 5 people at a time in most of the parties. So we really got to, I would say we could probably do 5 to 10 different groups playing. I mean, that's how many people are interested.
Yep.
And again,
I
Alexander,
think it could be
thank
done.
you.
I think it could be done. I mean, we could do it on a stream that dedicates to that, and we can be chatters in the stream and watching the game being played. That could be
Jason,
that's enjoyable too.
Depths unknown. Jason is going to be the dungeon master. I know.
I mean,
I'm not sure
see
who's
his
all
streams
playing.
from the dungeon. He streams from the dungeon.
Larry D, Chattanooga Ed, myself, and Xanadude, I think are the players. I think that's it. I could be missing somebody. I think that's it. It's going to be on Depths Unknown. I think he has a second channel. I don't know if he's going to do it there or what, but he's going to be the dungeon master. We're going to do it on his channel or one of his channels. And but that's just, maybe people can look at that and say, okay, this is how they're doing it.
And we can kick up on it and create our own as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
There's plenty of people out there doing it already. It's not like we're inventing anything, but I mean, you can, Mountain Greenery. Hello. And thank you so much. Again, this is part of the show. This is a question that gets asked week in and week out, and I love it. So, Eduardo, if you could live in any of your aquariums, which one would it be and why? So you fit in the aquarium. You're a denizen. It suits you. Which aquarium would that be?
I would choose my koi tank, the 125 that I have with my koi, my butterfly koi, because that is everyone's freaking fucking favorite. Every fish in that tank looks great. It's fantastic. Normally, when they get a certain size, then I move them to the pond. But normally, my sister loves that tank. Everybody my best friends, they come in. I love it. And it's the only fucking tank that doesn't have a living fucking plant because the fish eat it. So I would definitely choose that one. Everything in there is fake, including the freaking real blue gravel.
I was trying to do one F-bomb per show, too, by the way.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'll say freaking, that one. I think that was the best.
That's how I talk. You know that. I talk just like that as well. And that doesn't bother me. I think it's just words. But I'm
from the East Coast.
I'm not.
I was raised that way, and it's sort of like the F-bomb to me. I don't say it in my classroom. I don't even say anything close to it in my classroom. So as an adult, sometimes I just drop it all the time. Hey, isn't that a song? Drop it all the time. Drop it all the time. No, that's not the same as the song.
That's not the words. No. And hello again, everybody that's coming in. Again, I'm probably skipping a lot of stuff. What I'm looking for, just like on Dan's Fish, he talks about that all the time. I'm looking for the @Rico stand. It makes it. I have a black background. It makes it pop out in orange, and I can really see it. So if I've happened to skip your question or comment or anything, that's all I'm looking for right now. We've got about 50 minutes to get through, and I want to make sure I get all the questions. So if you've got a question or a comment for myself or for Eduardo, please do the @Rico stand. And the next one up's from Big Cat. Can you ask Eduardo, does he believe in aliens? And that's his normal question that he asks.
I'll answer it this way. I believe that we are so selfish that we believe that we're the only thing in the universe that exists, and that is a fallacy. If there are aliens, we ourselves are aliens to ourselves and also aliens to other life beings somewhere else in the universe. So I believe that I don't believe we're alone in the universe. So if the word can be said, do I believe in aliens? I believe that we're not alone. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Let's see. Nano Aquarium Guy, hello, Jay, says favorite genre of books, movies, and TV. And you did say fantasy. Is that your favorite across the board? Do you like to read as for pleasure? Do you like to read for pleasure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do.
Okay.
And not porn, by the way. Okay. So,
why?
not porn. I don't.
Why?
You know,
porn
I'm
doesn't.
not the romantic type. No. Mm-mm.
No.
But my favorite books go way back when I was a child when I read The Lord of the Rings.
And the first time you read it, was it in English or Spanish?
English, all English.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings and I'm forgetting his name right now, but The Sword of Shannara. I have read every single one. Terry Brooks, thank you. Correct. I have read every single one. I just picked up the last couple of ones that I've had that I got at the bookstore. Everything fantasy that has to deal with adventure, and I love especially Terry Brooks' way of how he describes the environment, he gives you a scenery of what's going on and the flowers and the plants and what moves and what chirps and what's going on and the description of the creatures and the characters. So to me, it is not necessarily about this. It has to be compelling as a storyteller, but more importantly, that involves me in that grabs me and pulls me into the environment. So
yeah,
and Terry Brooks does that for me. So if any, it would be fantasy and science. And I love magic. I love Harry Potter movies. I love anything that has to do with magic. What's her name when she did this one? Oh God, you put a little bit of tequila and you stir it all up. Mystical Magic or whatever the hell it's called with Sandra Bullock and what's her redhead name. So I love I love stories that have to deal with the empowering of women. I love the fact where the woman wins. Working 9 to 5 was one of my favorite films of all time. And my tear-jerking film of all time was Beaches with Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey.
Gotcha. And that's what I would expect from an Avon lady. Hello, Mark.
That's a good one.
Mark Strilson wants to ask the Myrtle question. Do you know what the Myrtle question is?
I have.
It's another
idea.
part of the show. Yep. It's
is
another.
It the one, if I was to change something about you?
Yep. What would we change about each other?
Not going to lie, I wrote it down. I don't know if you can see it, but I actually said, "Holy fuck!" There's nothing I can actually change about. There's nothing I can actually change about Rico because I do love the human being that he has become through all his trials and tribulations. If I can change one thing about Rico, and I'm sorry to say this, it would be your fucking wardrobe.
My wardrobe?
That would be it.
Why?
If I could change, because it's like, if I can change one thing about you, it would be your wardrobe, because you're very relaxing. You have your clothes, it's very relaxing. You're like really cool. And you are in friggin' Iceland. I'm in Florida, and you're the one wearing the shorts and t-shirts with the friggin' that's what, if I would change, I would change that. But that was.
Why would you change it? I'm comfortable. Why would you take that from me?
If I was to change it, it would be that, because I lived up north. I know how cold it gets. I would never be in shorts and flip-flops outside. But if I was to pick something out, that would be the one thing. Because, again, it goes to... I'll let you know. Anyway, but that would be my choice. I hope it answers your question, Mark.
It does. And let's see. So my part of that would be... I just wish that the people that did interviews with you and streamed with you and stuff would be able to get a word in edgewise once in a while. That's.
Remember, you said no F word, so you can just kiss my ass. All right.
No, I don't wish that, because that's who you are. And We joke about it all the time, but
All the time.
I know from my point of view, and I know from most of the people that do give you a hard time, we only do it because we do love you. We only pick on people that we like. It comes from a
That's
good
true.
place. So
Correct.
don't ever take
100%.
it, don't ever take it, like, so what would I really change about you? See, I have not had an answer for like the last 7 of these.
4 or 5 interviews. Yeah.
It's
It's
been
kind of
forever.
hard. I mean, we've heard what we can change about Rico, and I really did this. The question needs to be modified because there's certain things that we have learned from experiencing who you are on our TV, on our YouTube every single day and in person, that there isn't really nothing that I have no regrets of my life. None, nothing. I don't regret anything. Every choice was a made choice. Even if it wasn't something I had to make, I made it and I've lived with it and I've loved the consequences of every single one. And I believe that you're in the same boat as I am in that
I am not.
philosophy.
I do have regrets because I was not always a good person and I treated people badly in the past. So
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to
So
make
you
up for
were.
that now. So I do have regrets on the kind of person that I was at one time.
No, I wasn't.
It's-
I was always me. So people get offended by just me being me, as you already know. But that's not something that I have as a negative in my life.
yeah.
I mean,
I
things
was,
when we're honest with each other,
yeah.
sometimes honesty hurts, but that's the reality
Well,
of life.
I was just not a good person though. I did bad things to people and I did bad things. I just wasn't I hurt people and it is something that I regret. It's something that if I could go back, that is something that I would change. So let's move
But we don't.
along.
I don't know about those things, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't talk about them often.
found out that you had another child before you had the children with your wife. So that was something interesting. So
Yeah.
I had David. I believe you said his name is.
His name is David. Yep. And I've never met him. And he's probably older than most of the people in the chat. Jen Yu, hi Jen. What is your favorite meal? I think that's the second time you got a hi Jen. So favorite
Oh,
meal.
hi, Jen. You love her, love her, love her. My favorite meal. Wow. Hmm. Hmm. White rice with pinto beans and with all the fixings that come in with it, and rabbit fricassee made by my grandmother. That's the one meal
Ooh,
that I would have to say that would.
that's
It was
one
she
thing I've
was
never had.
she would make a fresh rabbit right from the cage, and she would make rabbit fricassee with white rice, the poor beans, but with the albino rabbit food, and it would be fricassee. That would be it.
Hmm,
Mhm.
nice. Nice. Oinky, hers is what's your favorite tank size? She said hers is a 125, but for my height, it's almost a minor ladder climb. So favorite tank size for you?
The 20 long, the 40, and the 60.
That's
So
not one.
no. I have to
Oh,
decide from those
gotcha.
three. And
Yeah.
the best tank that I've had that has had the best productivity from the fish from the breeds that are there would have to be the 40, because that's where the angels have mostly bred. So I would say the 40, and it's fully tank. It's the sister to this one, and this one's also a breeder tank, and this only has two angels that constantly having eggs and stuff like that. So the 40, my 40.
I'm going to say my 75, but I have never kept any bigger tanks than that. And I know that if I had, I'm sure that I would change that
Yep.
answer for sure. All right, scrolling down, and again, I know that I'm missing some comments and questions. So again, if you have anything, do the @ symbol in front of my name just so it pops out for me, because otherwise I'm just going to skip ahead. Hi, Skipper, Red Laser, hello everybody. 68 people currently. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Crypt
Wow.
Keeper Tim wants to know if money wasn't a factor and you could travel or do whatever you want for a whole year. What would you do or go see and why? So money, you don't have to worry about money. You've got an entire year to do whatever you want. What would you do? It's good, right? That's a good one.
Well, the thing is that on my bucket list, I've already succeeded on traveling across the United States. I've already traveled in Europe. Um, but if I was money wasn't an issue, I
Wait, let
think
me guess.
that
Let me guess. It would have something to do with family. You would have something to do with your family. Would you go and
I think the one thing I would do is make sure that my sister goes to Paris. Yes, that was exactly that. I want her to go. She's been wanting to go to Paris for a while, and I think that if anything, I would make sure that she gets to Paris. But
and
that
that's the
again,
sister that we met at the Clash?
oh yeah, I only have one sister. So yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
Minerva.
was going to ask that too. I thought you did have more sisters.
Siblings,
What
I had more males, but only
your
one
brother
sister.
your brother
And my
passed away?
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away last year, about
Yeah.
a year and a month ago. Um, but I have my best friend who is like a sister to us. So she's the mother of my eldest nephew. And she lives here in Naples, and she's the one that actually got me here to move to Naples. That's the
Gotcha.
other friend that you might have heard about. My
And
sister,
what's your sister's name that we met? Because I'm sorry, I
Minerva.
totally forgot.
Minerva.
Minerva. Okay. All right.
Minerva. Mhm. And you'll meet
Okay.
her again. She's
Yes.
probably somewhere
Looking
around
forward
here.
to it. And I love that she had so much fun and felt so. You said she felt very welcomed by the group,
Very
and I love to hear
welcome.
that. I love to hear that. It's
She
important.
has um going through her life changes as she is right now, and she just literally remember this young lady ran for mayor of her town in Puerto Rico, and then she moved to York, Pennsylvania, and literally has just been working. And her social life went from she knows everybody in town to she knows three people in town. So
Yeah.
when she went to the class with us, when she met all of us, she was like, "Holy shit, you met these mothers through YouTube?" Yeah. So that's been her kind of like she can't believe it. I mean, she's always known me to be very social and have people around me
Yeah.
constantly, but never that, she literally, this is the first time you meet them and they're like this. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
Very
yep, yep. And
welcoming.
then
I
why are
love
they
that.
saying that you're so quiet? What I said, I don't know. I have no idea.
Dapper Dennis, hello. Dapper Dennis wants to know. He says, and again, this is his regular question, and one that he doesn't think he can answer for himself. But who in history would you like to meet? Anybody throughout history? You've got a time machine, so you can pick the time to meet them and everything. Who would you like to meet?
Probably Greta Garbo or Mae West.
Ooh,
Yeah. They
and
were
just to
women
meet?
that changed. Yeah, I mean, I would if I would meet them and ask them, girls, you guys had balls. That's basically, yeah, and congratulate them on how they've changed my world and how I've always witnessed and respected women in power and women that gave themselves a voice. So
Excuse me.
I've always loved that.
Nice. And that's an original one. I haven't heard that one yet, so that's good. It's not that it's good, but GRB saying hi to both of us. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Lady R, hi, Lady R. Not intending. Hold on, let me read this one. Okay, and she says this, not intending to bring politics into the conversation, and I want you to keep that in mind too, because again, you and I, we're the same. We're as far
We're
as that
similar. We're
goes,
similar in our thoughts. Correct. Yeah.
but our community is very varied, and I do agree that politics are something that's very important, and everything is political. Everything is, but we don't have to have it every single place and every single, So I try to keep my channel free of any type of religious or political talk as much as I can. So keeping that in mind for your answer,
I
what is
read
the
her
most
question.
challenging? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I read it, and I'm going to go outside of the realm of what we normally would discuss and say, I think that the biggest challenge that we have is that teachers are not being respected for. I'm talking about educated teachers who take this as a profession and a vocation, and adding teachers today just to cover the shortage without having any professional background in education is this largest struggle we have as educators, because this is what happens. I already mentioned quickly about classroom management. That means the teacher has control and has witnesses everything that happens in the classroom. We are here in a classroom to educate. I am there to give my students absolutely everything that I have under my tool belt and in my toolbox so that they can become better human beings than I am in the realm of education. The problem with having teachers who are not certified or who are not prepared to be teachers, but because of the shortage, they're being placed in classrooms without the proper preparation. What causes is the following. I'll have I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods, and I'll grab the kids that are in sixth or seventh period, let's just say. And they've had teachers who are not prepared for classroom management. So by the time I get them in sixth after lunch or seventh period, these kids are out of control. So I have to literally take from the very beginning of the semester, hold them in and say, no, we create what we call in my classroom a constitution. The constitution are district rules, school rules, classroom rules, and then 4 that is created by the student themselves. So there's about 15 rules or in the constitution that we have to abide by. In other words, there are certain district rules that we can't change. There's school rules that we can't change. Classroom rules are basically you have to come prepared, you have to come to learn, you have to respect everyone and raise your hand, whatever the hell. So then the other ones is what they want. What do they want to include into the constitution? And they come up with it in the beginning of the year. We change it. Sometimes we change it in the midterm of the year, stuff like that. But the thing is, you give them the option and have them know that they're here for a purpose, and that purpose is to learn. And a lot of the newer teachers, like I was telling you about the almost 500 teachers that I've been literally training since the beginning of the year, it's about the biggest issue is classroom management. They don't know how to control. You don't tell the student to shut up. What are you doing? They're expressing themselves, so you listen to them. You don't know what that child is going through at home. We just had a hurricane. Did you know that kid's father abandoned his mother and his 3 sisters right in the middle of the hurricane and disappeared and left them homeless? Did you know that this kid has this ADHD? Do you know that this happened to that? They don't. So unfortunately, the children are being mistreated on a bunch of different levels, and of course they're going to go rebel against authority and teachers. So my biggest issue that I have has to do about make sure that the teachers that are walking in at least have some classroom management skills before they walk into a classroom. They don't have to be certified as teachers, just know how to work with children. Okay, that's it.
And I don't want to make light of that, because I agree, and that's super important, and yes, everything you just said is very, very important. But one thing you did say was that you want to give them everything under your tool belt, and that to me sounds like a phrase you don't want to utter.
In my tool belt, you son of a...
You said under my tool belt and in my toolbox. Under my tool belt.
It's in my toolbox. I have skills. In my tool belt, I have processes to give them to them. All right, yeah, you got to be very careful how you speak. Smack you over again. But true, 100% true. Yes.
Okay. Jen wants to know if you could be any animal, what would it be? And while you're thinking about that, Stephen P's making up songs over here about my girl wants to drop it all the time, drop it all
the time. Yeah,
party all the time, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, party all the time. I think if I could be any animal in the world, it would probably be a giant blue whale. I just love their majesty of life and the way they live their life. So that would be it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Chris says we should get and hi Chris, we should get a D&D channel on Fishcord. Yeah, if Steven's open for that. It's I'm an admin there too, but it's Steven. Steven's the owner, so I like to run everything by him and not just do stuff. But that sounds like a good idea to me. It's to set up some games and stuff. Why didn't I get a poll set up for the focus on? POLE.
Yep.
Mike B's wife, Maritza, wants to know if you could bring up some good I don't know how to pronounce it. Pronounce it for me. I don't want to say it wrong.
I can't see it. I don't see it. I don't see
Oh,
it.
it's Alca, Alcapurrias. Alcapurris?
Alcapurrias.
Alcapurrias.
Alcapurrias. Say Alca.
Alca.
Al, Alcapurrias.
With a P?
Alcapurrias. Yes, with a P.
Purrias.
Alcapurrias.
Purrias.
Yeah, they are deep fried. Yeah, it is a root outside, yautilla, yauca, and then they're inside they're with beef and pork and meat and stuff, and then they're deep fried together, and they're superb. They're so good. But
It's a
talking
hot
about
pocket.
dieting,
It's a hot pocket.
yeah. It's a hot pocket, but really, really good. Oh yeah, I can't make them. I know how to, but I definitely buy them a lot. So yeah. I think it was I think I read Jenna's comment. She said something that her and I have spoken about this a lot. And yes, 100%. If you don't respect your students, don't expect them to respect you back. They're human beings just like you and I. And they have issues even way beyond what you and I may have had when we were kids. We had it good compared to some of these kids today. Yeah, I've talked to Eduardo about this before, and kids are people. Yeah, it's all the way down there. But and you have to deserve that. Yeah.
And I could never do it. I could never. I love my kids, but I don't like your kids.
And you know what? It's a funny thing because one of the biggest arguments I used to have is when in favor of the student is I didn't like having students that had their parents who were teachers at the same school where I'm teaching. Oh, I felt so bad for those kids. I said, you know, I know who your mom is. I know who your dad is. I know who your mom and your dad is because I had a science and a mom who was a science teacher, and then a dad who was a math teacher, and I had the teacher who was an English teacher, and then her husband was also the math teacher, and I felt really, really bad for them. And I said, if you ever need a shelter, come into my room. If one of you just come into my room, just come in, sit down, and pretend that you're reading Romeo and Juliet. So that's it.
Paul says in New Jersey, the F-bomb is used as a noun. Yeah. Pronoun, correct. Verb, and adjective. You can, and that's not just Jersey. That's all over the place. A lot of places. But, yeah, definitely. It's a Chicago thing too. Any big city, I think. El Rey Delo. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Where? Who said?
From Diego. Hi, Diego. It's at 9. I don't know if you can see the timestamp. 9/11.
9/11. Hold on, I do.
De los Anillos.
Who said it?
Petsadix.
El Rey de los Anillos, Rico Stan. The King of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
Gotcha.
The Lord of the Rings. Yep.
And Lady R wants to know, how do you deal with an impulse talker?
In class? Oh my God. I have several, by the way. I have several. One of them is a girl, one of them is a boy, both from the same country. They're both extremely loud. And all I do is the first time I call their attention, I would just call out their name, and they would look at me, and I would just be like, lower your volume. The second time I called their attention, I'm like, just come here. And then they would walk over, and I was like, would you like a piece of candy? And I always have candy on my desk and give them a piece of candy, and then they will walk away, chocolate or a sugar candy. And they would just go sit down. And by that time, that's enough. I've never had one that goes to step number 3 unless they were not talkers, but they were being disrespectful to something or something on with themselves. And I would literally just go up to them, and I said, step outside. And then they would step outside the classroom. I would ding the dean of attendance and discipline, and then he would come and pick them up. I don't out them out in front of the class or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just put them outside, and they know what, but they do know that once they go outside, they're not coming back.
So those 2 steps seem to do for the impulse talkers, and especially giving them a piece of candy just maybe brings them back into, makes them realize where they're at. And
right. Yeah. And the thing is that impulse talker, especially in my particular courses, English as a second language, if they're speaking English, I'm not going to stop them.
Yeah.
But if they're speaking Spanish in that class, that's when that would be the second. And in drama, they have to speak. I mean, I literally have to take a crowbar and try to open their mouth so they do speak. So it's the opposite in drama, you know. Because again, I'm
Uh,
dealing with middle school kids. This is
yeah.
ages 11 to 14 at most. So,
Lady R's got another one. And
okay.
how do you tell people that they have their facts wrong?
That's a really
I'll
difficult. That's a difficult question because it depends on the material. I mean, if you're talking
exactly.
about English, it's easy. But if you're talking about drama, there is no
Well,
such thing as
not even in
erroneous
school, but
facts.
just in life in general.
Yeah.
Let's say you're hanging out at the Keystone Clash and somebody's saying something. How do you bring it up that you don't have.
All right, we'll take the perfect example. You had a tank and you had to help with a disease your fish had. Okay. You did A, B, C, D. And okay, did it work? I don't agree with what you did, but I'm not letting you know if I agree with you or not. Because what happened in your tank is specific to you as a fish keeper. And what I have done through the experience, you have 2 or 3 years experience with fish. I have over 40 years experience with aquariums. So I can be here being like, oh, stoic. Oh, yes, I have a doctorate degree in aquarianism. You are a moron. You don't know what. People are not going to listen.
No.
Listen to me. It's not about having. The fact is, did it work? If it worked, good for you. But understanding where you're coming from, understanding where a person is coming from, your facts and the facts that you may know, because 2 and 2 may be 4 in the way we've been taught. But how about if we've been wrong all this time and someone comes up with the philosophy of maybe 2 and 2 is actually 6? So you can't, oh my God, the facts are the facts and you can't change them. But if someone is flat out lying, that's a completely different
Sure.
subject.
Sure. Yeah. And I think it really depends on whatever the subject is too, because a lot of
Correct.
times it doesn't matter. So you just let them go and you don't need to correct them. I know there are times, even though I know somebody's coming from a good place and they correct me on something that, well, they don't even have all the facts. Well, here's a great example, really quick. I did a short on my African dwarf frogs, and somebody commented, "Oh, that tank is grossly overstocked. You need to have at least a 15-gallon tank, and it needs to be heavily planted, and all this stuff, and going on and on and on." And I didn't respond. I just deleted their comment. First of all, there was no way to tell what size tank it was. I never said what size it was. So he had no idea what size tank it was, and he's telling me that it's overstocked. He doesn't know what my water change regimen is. He doesn't know, and it was heavily stocked with plants. I mean, you could see those, but it was a 29-gallon tank, and he's saying it's got to be at least a 15-gallon. That's gross. It's way over. It's twice what you're saying. So, but I don't even worry about it. I deleted his comment and moved along. So there's
It's sort of kind of
hi.
you want to get into you want to be able to be objective. Let's be honest. Not everyone is right and not everybody's wrong. There are happy mediums that we can follow. We can play around with. So
Sure.
everything is about parameters. Where the fact of someone's not disrespecting another human being or their opinion or their experience, you're not really there for that person. You're there just for your own ego, which unfortunately is what a lot of teachers are doing today.
Let's see. Silver. What Coral said. I gotta scroll back up. Oh, did Silver miss out on the Rico stand? So I probably missed your question, Silver. Tommy, if you would please put it again. And it just jumped on me, so I gotta scroll back up. There it is. Yeah, Silver asked one. I missed it, Tommy. If you could do the at Rico stand for me. So yeah, let me know. Do that one up for me if you would. I'm just looking for that because we do have about 20 minutes left. Stephen P., my friend, what's going on? He wants to know what movie made you laugh the hardest.
Sheriff is black. Oh my God, Mel Brooks. Oh my God, I can't. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. The Sheriff is black.
Oh, Blazing
You
Saddles.
what? Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
That one, and the one that's from the UK about the chalice and all that stuff. I forget the name of. I forget the titles, but those are actually Blazing Saddles. I had to run to the bathroom and I didn't make it. I peed my pants in the theater. In the
Yeah.
theater. Blazing Saddles. Yes.
Blazing Saddles would not be made today.
I died, and I still, when I see it on reruns or whatever, I still crack up and I still remember the part when it comes on that I peed my pants. So shut up, whoever asked that, Steven, thanks. But it was hysterical.
Super important question from Jen Yu.
Okay.
She says, "Do you know how much I love you?"
Yes, I do, and thank you so very much. You are very much loved again, and can't wait to see you at the Clash. She is so awesome.
We're gonna see Jen Yu this year.
I hope so. Yes, and her
I know
son.
a lot more people. I know a lot more people are going this year. And hi to everybody that's came in. There's still 68 people. So much.
Okay.
Jenna P wants to know if you were nervous for your sister to meet everyone at the Clash. Did you think that? Yeah, I didn't think you would be. Right?
No. I was very happy that she wanted to join me. Are you kidding me? And I wanted to introduce her to absolutely everybody. I mean, she met every single one that I introduced her to, and Maria Z, Patty, you, oh my God, everyone. She loved absolutely everyone, but Maria Z and Patty were awesome. Oh, Jennifer Weaver. Oh, I mean, she has so much fun. She was flabbergasted by everyone.
You know what?
And of course, she loved the fact of everything Rico stand that was there. So genuinely,
you should name names. I suck at this, and because I always leave out people that are important to me every time I name names on anything. So I'm trying to stop saying it because every time I leave out important people to me that I want to mention. So.
I mean, and the one thing she said, if she was to pick, I asked her, which of the stickers were your favorite? And she goes, Mystery Snail Gardens. Nice. Mystery Snail Gardens was her favorite.
Who just had a birthday yesterday, by the way, for anybody who didn't know. It was Annette's birthday yesterday. So again, happy birthday to Annette again. Annette again. Annette again. Annette again. It's Annette again. Next up is Ivy. Hi, Ivy. Fly or be invisible? Which one would you rather have?
I would love to be able to fly, not invisibility.
Betty says invisible. She thought you were going to go with invisible.
Nope. Fly. I would love to. I had dreams back in the times where I felt that I was chained and caged when I was a child. And I used to have dreams where I was able to fly away from my problems and the problems in my life. So I had those dreams, and those dreams gave me flight to become who I am today. So flying would be number one.
Nice.
I read that. I think someone asked Tommy, and he said flying as well. And I 100% agree with you.
I think most people have answered with flying. I think so. Dee Dee says, I hate to be missing this. Got to catch the replay out of town. Well, we appreciate you even coming in, Dee Dee. Okay, scrolling down. I see Dolbeck. Hi, Dolbeck. Dolbeck will be joining us soon on the Focus On 2. We're going to get him up here too to do that. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Even with his accent.
What accent? Do you not notice my accent? You don't see my accent. You don't see it. Okay.
Favorite public aquarium memory? I don't know that I've ever been to a public aquarium.
When I went to the Chicago Aquarium, I had just turned 50. So about 9 years ago. Yeah.
The Shed? The Shed Aquarium?
I don't remember the name of it on the top of my head, but it was one of the most overwhelming, beautiful aquariums that I've ever seen in my entire life. So
I don't know that I've ever been to a single public aquarium, ever. I don't remember it. I mean, I've been to some zoos that had like penguins and different, things like that, but that's it.
Yep.
Mickham, hello.
Yes, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I just saw Al Wetsock put that in. That's the other one that makes me pee my pants. Yep.
Good job, Al. Right. Yeah, that is another great one too. And I haven't watched that in forever. Did you see Mickham's? He says, I've been assisting an art teacher in the school where Greta Garbo went as a child here in Stockholm, and my
Wow.
grocery store is an old cinema with a huge picture of Greta. That's
Wow.
cool.
That's really
We have
cool.
to get
Take
him
a
some
picture and
pictures.
send it to me. I would love
Yeah,
it. If you
yeah,
could take a
yeah.
picture,
Send him a
send it to
picture.
me. That would be freaking awesome.
So the little
But
town that we live in, it's a tiny little town, and its only
right.
claim to fame, like, is what's his name? Oh, he's the grandpa from the Munsters. He played the Dracula character, the
Yes,
grandpa
yes,
from the
yes.
Munsters.
Right. He was
He was
that
born in
was his
this little
area.
tiny little
Yep.
town where we're at now. So
Yep. Yep.
that's our only claim to fame, and the fact that
Okay.
we've lost about 3,000 people over the last 20 decades. 20
Yeah.
decades? 20 years.
20
20
years.
decades.
2 decades.
Okay, we got where Gina said that, and again, if you've got questions or comments, please do the. And Steven said he was fine with the D&D thing. But if you guys have questions or comments, please do the @Rico stand so it pops out. Because I'm just sort of scrolling through. We got about 15 minutes left. And if you do see something you want to address or anything, feel free, Eduardo.
All right. I just read Mickey M's love the answer about flying. Your personality is so positive and awesome. Thank you. You know what? The one thing that I get from being an educator is that the same attitude I'm showing you here and all that. This is not an act, even though I am an actor. It's that I am genuine this way with my students. They love and hate me at the same time because I have to. There's learning to be done, but it's also fun. And you have to understand that a student that comes from a completely different culture, a communist country, okay, coming here and all of a sudden is being given all of this stuff that we have. Our students get computers, they have internet, all this stuff is given to them in our district. And for them to learn to appreciate what they have compared to students that are, oh yeah, I got this, I got that, it don't matter. It's a huge difference. And if you don't give the emphasis on the appreciation, me being a poor kid when I got here, being poor for most of my life, I'm still poor. I ain't rich, but I work hard and I'm good with money. Well, actually, I'm good at spending money. Anyway, but it's sort of like that thing. You got to make sure that my personal issues that I have don't take to work. My issues that I have with coworkers, I don't bring home. Like that hour and a half drive we were talking about,
Yeah.
I clear it up. When I go from here to there, I'm like, okay, what's the lesson? What I got to do? What does that have to done? This student needs attention. This student needs just attention. I got to focus on that. Okay. Drama. Or they have to write their own play. They have to do this. They have to do the dialogue. Okay. Get to school. Get it all up. I'm done. By 7 o'clock, I'm already ready for class, and it doesn't start until 9. That at 4 o'clock or 5, depending when I leave, depending on after hour school, I'm on my way home. I devent the drive. I got to focus because I live in Florida and these people drive like crazy maniacs. But I take the long way and I take the highway and I take the back roads and everything. So if by the time I get home, I don't remember what I did the whole day. It's gone. The stress is gone.
Yeah.
So, and that's the best way I could do it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Paul Sotero said the F-bomb's use was perfected in Jersey.
Yes, they were. Thank you very much. He should know. He probably perfected most of them. Who is your favorite YouTuber? Oh, Lori, hi. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm gonna go with the best answer ever. Cher.
Cher is your favorite YouTuber?
Yeah, I love her. I watch everything that Cher comes up. I don't care if it's not Cher, somebody else posted anything that has to do with Cher. Again, the empowerment of women. Anytime Ted, by the way, TED. When Ted, when the people talk about the TED, they go into these talk shows. The TED Talks. I love TED Talks. Those are one of my favorites. They're very positive. They're very enlightening. And anything that empowers women. And I remember watching Cher on TED Talks, and it was just amazing. And I love the fact that she's dating a younger man now. I think she deserves every single great lay she can get.
Mickums wants to know if you have a suggestion or advice, have suggestions or best advice if you want to learn a new language and not
Oh,
be able to actually go to the country where it's spoken, but you don't have the ability. So what's your advice for learning a new language without moving?
the best advice I can give you is the same advice I tell my students every single day. In order for you to learn the language that you want to learn, immerse yourself in the society. In other words, if you want to learn Italian, ask Paul Sotero. Go to the neighborhood. Go and learn with go have pasta, etc., etc. If you want to learn Portuguese, go down there. Can you do the same thing? Involve yourself, immerse yourself in the environment without having to go to the country. You can
But
do
what
it
if there
right
is
here.
no? What if there is no? Because he lives in Sweden. So
That
if
oh
there's
my God,
no,
he has okay. All right.
so
So
he
if he
can't.
wants to
Let's
learn
say
it,
he can't leave.
Sweden, they have like 7 languages. What are you talking about? Oh, every Swedish I've ever met, they know 7 languages. Why? Because they're all already mixed into their culture. So to me, you
Sure.
don't have to without going to the country. There's a great program. It's called. I don't want to announce it because it. I don't know if you get. I don't know. It's like when people
Go
are
ahead.
babbling along. I babble a lot. Good program.
Michelle's been using that Duolingo for. She learned Russian
Yep.
enough, but she's been brushing up on her Spanish, and she's been doing it for more than a year now. And she's
Yep. She's really good
I
at it.
mean, yeah, she can understand it very well, and she can speak it well enough. Mike Maritza wants to know if he's seen the movie Kentucky Fried Movie.
I believe I've heard of it somewhere, something like that.
Spatula City, Spatula City. It was a bunch of skits,
Yep. Running
almost like
on.
a Saturday Night Live thing.
Yep.
Kentucky Fried Movie. It was hilarious. Probably 78 or 79. I'm
78.
guessing.
Yes, that's so
Yeah.
old, but yes. I remember one of my favorites is also car washing. Doom, doom, coming to
At the
the
car
car
wash.
wash.
Yeah, just
At
the
the
car
car
wash. I
wash.
think it's called, yeah.
That was another one that I would literally be looking and go like this. What the hell are they doing? But that was also a funny film. All right.
Scuba Steve wants to know what number person was Scuba Steve on the list of fish fan people he has met. So when did you meet Scuba Steve? Was he like the 5th person you met? Was he the 10th?
All right. Scuba Steven is in the top 10 because we met at Aquashella 2 years ago. He was the first Fish Fam's non YouTuber street big guy. So like I met Carrie, I met Jesse, her husband, Ed, John, the other people. So he was probably number 5 or 6, probably, because I met him before I met Aquafunk. So I have that picture with him uh, standing behind Aquafunk and I photobombing us. So Scuba's in the top 5. Yep, I would say top 5.
And we're almost out of time. We got about 8 minutes left. So real quick, before we get to Mike B's question, was there anything that you wanted to tell people that we didn't touch on, something that's important to you, part of your life that we didn't bring up, that we didn't really dig into? Anything that you think is important to tell people? Or do you have anything, channel-wise that you want to promote or talk about that you're doing? Anything like that?
Right now, my life at work is getting me too busy, so I don't have the time. I mean, I'll have a week off. Most likely, I'll do some streamings there in March. But I think what I wanted to promote the most is the joy that I have felt throughout the past few years of being part of the Fish Fam, and the immense and enormous camaraderie I have felt with absolutely everyone that I have met, and even I have not met them. We have chatted on chats and stuff like that. So to me, I'm just very, very grateful that we have had the opportunity to create a community through our cyberspace world and have made it to fruition in meeting in person, like at the class this last year, and we're meeting again this year. I think that we need to learn to embrace our differences and not allow our differences to in spite of our differences to break us up. Look, we have different opinions, we have different political beliefs, we have different religious beliefs, but we have something in common, and that is our aquariums and the fact that we love what we do. So if I can leave with anything, I want to be able to leave that not only am I a happy fish keeper for 40 plus years, but now after so many years of having an individual world, I can share my fish keeping with others. So that's something that I
Gotcha.
really appreciate from every single one. And you know why how I met you, right, Rico?
John and Lisa, maybe.
Lisa's interview, correct? Lisa Hudson's interview with you. She was
Gotcha.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on this," and that's how I met you, and I fell in love with you then, and that's just the way it has been. You know, it's I
Well,
think when we find people that we have something in common with,
yeah,
and we dig them and we understand them. At the same time, there are people that I do not agree with and I don't watch. So why, I we do this in our lives. I believe in what you said. Family is family, especially when they're your children and stuff like that. But to me, my family are those that have been with me and they're not blood related.
yeah.
To me, my friends are more family than most families.
Oh yeah. Yep.
My sister is my sister, but we weren't close until just recently. We were very different from each other. She believed other things and I believed other things. But to me, my friends are my thing. I would do anything for my friends, especially those that have been around with me for over 40 years. So 30 and
Yeah.
20, 40 years. So and I
I
love
don't
my
have any of
friends.
those. I do have one friend he's been my best friend for about 20 years now, but and he's family. We
Yep.
he's definitely family. I love the guy, and I have a brother and a sister who I haven't spoken to in forever. So family is what you make of it. It really is. So yeah, again, we're almost done. So we're going to run through a quick few more of them. If there was something that you could have invented first, what would it be? So what would you be most proud to invent? What would something that you would have loved to be the inventor of?
An automatic water change.
You'd like to be the inventor of that?
I wish I would. I wish I could create a instant water change. I think that is one of the most amazing things that we have in the fish fry, especially when you have a bunch of tanks like Richard Reynolds has. And I love the fact that they just change it and all that stuff. I love that. So I
Yeah.
wish I would because I think I would have made it if I was an inventor because I'm not. But I think that would have been something really, really great. I just wanted to
I
mention
want to
real
do
quick
that.
that a lot of people are going to, I believe Jessie's birthday's today, and she has a stream coming up real soon, which she asked me to join. But obviously, I'm committed to this,
I
and
will.
once we're done here, we're going to go there. There is something I can't really. Can you see it at 9:55? I
From
think
Lady
it's
Rorschach,
is it Lady. I can't read it. I can't see it
the
anymore.
part
What does
says,
it
I
say?
can't emphasize enough how marvelous of a human
Oh,
being Eduardo is. Keep being who you are and promoting unity in the fish fam and the world. You're a wonderful role model.
I am. Thank you. Thank you very much. Not laughing at that, but thank you very much. Lady Roshak, by the way, I heard you for the very first time on last Saturday's stream with Saturday Morning Cartoons. You have one of those voices that I would love to have every single day in my reading class. You have a wonderful reading voice. Really, really. And I'm talking about for my students. You are an excellent reader. And I love that. You
Yeah.
pronounce everything and your voice is extremely pleasant.
I did hear her as well. She's been doing a stream with Jess, Lady
Yep.
Metalhead, and
Oh,
I did
okay.
hear. I can't remember what stream I heard her on, but she also will be one of our guests.
Awesome.
I'm gonna focus on at some point in the future too. And I do need more people too, though. So my email address is at the top of the screen, way up there, rico@ricostan.com, and please. It doesn't matter the size of your channel. I don't care if you have any content. I don't care if you have 1 million subscribers or 1 subscriber or none. If you are a part of the Fish Fam, which just means you go to these streams and you hang out with us, that's all that means. I would love to interview you. I'm trying to go through the entire community, which is 1,000 people probably at least.
Yeah. Pretty up
and
there.
and Eduardo's like number 88 or 89, so we have a long way to go. But I want to interview everybody, so please send me an email. Just say, hey, I'd like to be on the Focus On, please, and let me add you to the list. And with that, it's perfect timing. Again, I don't think that Jess has it scheduled yet. I didn't see it. Do any of the mods see that for Jess's? And happy birthday to Jess. I want to see.
I haven't
if
seen
there-
it. I haven't looked. I don't know.
I did not set things up to her so that he interviewed me. His bar is very low. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. Yep, I got it right here. They're already streaming.
Can someone, if someone can put it in the chat, Geek or oh, you did. Okay, cool.
Yes, I just did.
Okay.
Oh, Yellowstone is under a different account. So everybody go over there and hang out with them and wish Jess happy birthday, please.
Yep.
And thanks you so much for hanging out with us. I honestly don't even know who my guest is for Tuesday, but we're going to try and do these Tuesdays and Saturdays for the next few months, just to get a lot of them done and to do more of them. So, Eduardo, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I had a lot of fun, which I knew it was going to be fun.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah. And again, sorry that it took so long, but that was both of us.
Hey, good things come for those who wait. That's how I see it.
Thanks, everybody. And again, thank you, Alexander Engelhardt. I don't know if there was any other super chats that I missed. If I appreciate those sincerely from my heart. So if there was and I missed it, thank you so much. And we will see you guys over at Jess's.
All righty.
Bye, everybody.